What's going on, guys? Welcome to For the Fans, and once again, our Big Brother coverage of BB25. It's the 5 p.m.ers here once again, and this time we're joined by our first time guest and host, Chantae. What is up?
Hi.
Hey, welcome to For the Fans, Chantae.
Thank you.
You have joined the 5 p.m.ers, me and CJ. You used to have Ryan as well sometimes over the 5 p.m.ers. The show airs at 8 p.m. Eastern. So sometimes we got to watch it, on some illegal streams at 5 p.m. So that's why we're the 5 p.m.ers.
Make it work.
So, they got to make it work.
Illegal YouTube stream. Yeah.
Yes, wherever we can find it. Because we're on the West Coast. As you know, we're the West Coasters here.
Yes.
And then we're joined this week once again by Sheldon. Sheldon loves to come and hang out with the 5 p.m.ers.
I do.
Hi, Sheldon.
Hey, Chantae. Hey, CJ. Hey, Kevin.
Hello, Sheldon. We are here, guys, to recap yesterday's episode and talk a little bit about what's been going on in the live feeds.
Watched it. I did watch
it. Before we get into it, Chantae, tell us a little bit about your Big Brother history.
I have zero Big Brother history. So, full disclosure, I'm a total noob here. I watched the episode from last
Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then yesterday's episode.
And I was texting Kevin the whole time, like, what the hell did I get myself into? When you guys talk about it, I'm like, oh man, this is so good. Why haven't I been watching it? And then I did watch it, and I was like, what am I watching?
She texted me, she's like, what the hell is the comics verse? What the hell is this?
Like, what is going on? I was like, it's clear the writers are on strike.
Yeah, she texted me and said, nether regions, it's clear the writers are on strike.
Yeah. What are your initial thoughts? What do you think?
It was so very campy.
And you've seen 2 episodes, right? You saw yesterday's episode too?
Yeah, I saw yesterday's episode too. It was very hard because what's her name? The host's name?
Julie Chen.
I'm used to hearing her do news. So when she's like explaining things, I was like, this isn't news. It was hard for me to kind of get into it because it was so ridiculous.
It was hard for her to get into it too.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. She's awful at her job.
Okay, it wasn't just me.
No, it's not just you.
This is not engaging, but it's because she sounds like news, and the stuff she's saying is so ridiculous. So it was this total like disconnect for me.
25 seasons later.
Okay. Right? So I was like, oh my god, it must be something I'm missing as the newbie.
I need to walk it back. Julie Chen Moonves is terrible.
Yes, Julie Chen Moonves has been. There's a lot more God in her speech. And it's not as good as she used to be. Julie Chen, phenomenal. When the things happened with Les Moonves at CBS, she then started signing off as Julie Chen Moonves.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's when
I remember that, which is like, if he's the one who did all the dirt, why are you the one having to be all,
Yeah.
But whatever.
Well, it's your husband. Like,
no, like I get supporting your husband, but it's like she's penalizing herself for his actions.
No, she's penalizing the rest of us.
Chantae,
I'm so happy, Chantae. I have to say, I'm so happy you're here because although you are new to BB, you are not new to podcasting, and I've listened to you on podcasting quite a bit, and you're so good. So I'm so happy you're joining for the fans team. Welcome home.
Thanks, Sheldon. I don't know how much I have to bring to the table here.
You're gonna be great.
Try my best.
So, but without getting too deep, because we're gonna go through the episode.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through the episode, but those were your initial thoughts when you were watching the Wednesday episode? Did you see a little bit more on like the gameplay that we'd be talking about yesterday as they were getting into it?
Yes, and I saw all the alliance. Homegirl was a Kristen. She was in alliance with everybody, and I was like, ooh, that.
Like, I don't know this show, but I don't think you should be doing that.
Right? It's like, I may not be watching, but this is going to be easy to discover if you're in alliance with everyone. All they have to do is talk once, and then like by the end of the episode, I was like, oh, there it goes. So, yeah, I think she played herself, and we'll see if she makes it out of there. But I don't know. I feel like because Felicia's older, and not to discriminate, but I feel like she's an easy target, so she might squeak out of this.
So let's use that to get into the game, right? Because
Can we, but before we get to that, I just have to say one thing. I have been a little bit low on BB the last, 12
I
years.
know you've said several years over the last couple of years you expected to be canceled anytime now.
Because I don't know, it just has felt old. It's felt done. It's felt like it's time to go. I don't know what's going on. I don't think it's actually Suri, although it's partially Suri. But there is this energy in this season. Everybody seems to be, ready to play. It doesn't, like, there is no dud for me on this cast. Even the people I thought were going to be duds don't seem like duds so far. I don't know. It just seems somehow alive again. And I haven't felt this way about a BB season in a very long time. I really, really hope it continues because it's been two episodes, a little bit of watching Twitter since you guys got me into Twitter. It's been, I'm loving it. I don't know. This is different. I'm loving it.
I have a question for you, Sheldon. Do you think part of this feeling different is because last BB USA season was so toxic with the Houseguests?
No, I like even the year before with the cookout, like it felt boring to me. It felt old somehow.
Okay.
It felt like it was done, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it. It's so funny, Chantae. You said it feels campy. This year feels less campy to me than usual.
Oh my gosh!
It usually feels like it's brie cheese mixed with mozzarella, mixed with everything. Like it feels a bit more serious. It feels like a game more than like camp.
Well,
yeah.
I think Suri brings it now. Once again, Chantae, how much Survivor knowledge do you have?
Yeah, the last time I watched Survivor, I couldn't drive a car. So, I mean, I could.
Like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Why are you being so nice to Chantae?
She doesn't hit me.
I can't hit you from my house, but I can drive over. So yes, keep that in mind. So it's been a while for me. I know Survivor. I know the gameplay, and I watch the challenge more. So I know these Big Brother people and Survivor people coming from the challenge and how like they're all about that social game. Whereas the challenge is like, wait, we're here to try to be strong athletes, and then all of a sudden all these Big Brother Survivor people are in there, stirring the mix up. So I know obviously she's what's his face's Jared's mom, which now I'm like, he knew ahead of time his mom was going.
Yeah, he didn't know. I thought he didn't, but he says he does.
At first it made it seem like he didn't, but I was like, oh, he knew, because he walked in and saw her, and I was like, he is not surprised at all. He knew his mama was going to be there.
There was no way he wouldn't know.
She would walk in.
I thought he didn't know until he says, "Yeah, I knew my mom was going to be here," which is great.
I don't think he knew when she was going to walk in, which is why he walked in first, or he wouldn't have. I think he knew she was going to be there. How they introduced her.
So Chantae Suri is a legend of Survivor. She's played 4 times. She's
never won, right?
Never won, but is just loved by fans all over. She is very smart. She's extremely strategic. She's just very likable, extremely likable, and she's like an every woman. In fact, her first season, however many years ago, it was Survivor 12, I want to say 11 or 12. She is the woman that got up off the couch and came to play. That was literally it. That's her story. Is that she was watching and flipping through the couch one day, sitting on the couch flipping through the show, and decided, "Hey, I'm gonna see if I can do that." She's afraid of bugs. She's afraid of
leaves. Alert.
She's afraid of leaves.
Yeah,
she's afraid of everything.
Afraid of everything. But she was like an every woman, right? And she's a nurse, and she's just a great a person. And like Sheldon said, she got to the end, made a great alliance with Aris. Aris goes on to win the game. She has she ends up doing a vote in that season that becomes iconic, the 3-2-1 vote at the final 6. She is just a very smart and very likable, right? Finishes 4th in that season because they're like, we can't sit next to Suri. Aris goes on to win, who was her closest ally. She comes back in Micronesia, makes it to the final, has a women's alliance, convinces this dude who won immunity to give up his necklace. And then the women there's 5 women and 1 guy, and Suri gives one of the girls a plan that says, hey, he's kind of sweet on you. Go tell him that you are concerned and you need the necklace. and Serena's like, I'll tell him that he's going to be safe. He does it. Then they cackling vote him out.
Yep.
Have an all-women final 5. And then
I really want to go find that and watch it.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
It's horrible.
Aaron Reichenbach.
Fantastic.
One of the reasons it's horrible is that happened in Micronesia, which was 15 or 16, and they still talk about it now at 45. Poor Eric Reichenbach has had to live with this situation for 20 years. That is
They should be back. They got to bring the guy back.
They did it. Brought him back in fans versus favorites.
But they brought him back too soon. They need him like now. He's a mature human, not a kid.
So they brought him back for that. So there was that. She then.
So I did want to interject one thing. You said she's good because she's smart and she's strategic. I want to add another thing. She is an expert at reading people. This woman should have been in the FBI and the CIA and the who knows. Like she could read. And we're going to talk a little bit about this, but I think she's been doing some reading on Easy already. So she is an expert at understanding what people are saying versus what they actually are thinking versus what they're actually going to do.
And not to jump ahead, but like the only reason Jared was saved was because of her. Like she saved him. Like he was not going to be saved. I could tell. I was like, dang, she just went in there and like told them what to do, and they said, okay.
Yep. She basically went in and said, Jared's working with us. So if you're working with me, you're working with Jared.
I want to say this, man. I'm a little upset, and we saw it in this last episode. In any podcast I've done or anything I've talked about, any drafts I've done, I said Jared is not his mom. That's why I don't think Jared's going to go far. Then you went and put his mom in there, and I said everything I said goes out the window because Jared is not his mom, but his mom is his mom, and she's there.
They were like, Kevin, you're right. He's not his mom. So go ahead and get her.
Correct. It's like what's going to happen to Bronny James, right? Bronny's not LeBron, but if Bronny's playing with LeBron will help make sure Bronny does at least well enough as he can. And
as a good parent should.
Correct. Correct. And I'm not mad at him for it
at all.
It just messes up like literally everything. Like we get the cast on last Monday and we do all the breakdowns and everything we've said about these cast members gets thrown out the window. The 3 is just the ultimate game changer, if you will.
I don't know if that's true.
For Jared.
I don't know if that's
true. I think that's true for everyone, and we're going to get into it today. I'm going to tell you why. Going into the episode, Sri wins another game called Traders. She also wins Snake in the Grass. She
won Snake in the Grass, and I haven't even watched it. Spoiler.
Sheldon. It's
been over a year.
2 years ago. Like those.
At this point, it's your fault, Sheldon.
So she's fantastic, a great social player, and luckily we're going to be able to see her play because she plays these other games. She plays Survivor and it's edited, but by being able to watch her on the live feeds, you're actually being able to see like how the trick is made, right? You see, when you watch Survivor, you watch the final part of the magic trick. Mm-hmm. By watching it on the live feeds, you're watching her work and you're watching her make the dough, if you will. You're seeing it happen, which is pretty impressive. And we even see it in this episode. And we're going to get into that in a minute. So first off, jumping into the episode, Cerie's in the house. We just pick up like right where we left off. Cerie's in the house. Everyone walks in. Felicia, she's pouring. She's like pouring. Felicia's like, I know who that is. So she goes over there. Riley's like, I've seen Survivor. I know Cerie. Then we get Izzy turning to Jared and saying, Cerie's your mom. He's like, hey, come over. Come over here. Let me talk to you over here. Let's not say that out loud. Can we not say that?
That's the quiet part.
Down? Yeah,
let's keep that
down. She's like, oh no, Cerie's your mom. And no, I'm aware that Cerie's my mom. I know that Cerie's my mom. Let's bring that down. Can we bring that down?
And so you know what Jared should have done? Jared should have looked at her and be like, you saying all black people look alike?
Nah, man. No. I don't think you can't.
Has done her research on him, and that's
correct.
How she's.
That's why you can't deny it because they walked into the house and she had him dead to rights. And like it wasn't to me. It was. I get CJ if she brings it up like later on in the day. Yeah, you could try to maneuver around it. The moment she looks at Cerie, looks at Jared's face, and says, "That's your mom."
Your mom.
Well, hold on. She's no. If I remember correctly, in what I saw, she knew it when they were on.
Correct.
When they were outside before.
She knew it because she said she Instagram stalks Cerie.
Yeah,
So she knew that was, which is kind of crazy. I'll also say I've been watching, because I'm in love with Suri. I've been watching all these supercuts of Suri, and I saw one with Jared when he came for a loved one's visit on Survivor. He looked like such a freaking baby, but it is so. I think they are best friends. Like I honestly like even I'm not best friends with my mother. I probably shouldn't say that out loud, or I don't know. But like they are friends. He truly deep down.
Chantae's friends with her mother.
Are you?
Chantae's friends with her mother.
Are we friends?
Listen, your mother's been to my home.
I'm her friend on Facebook, but it took like 10 years for me to accept her.
Yeah.
I finally was like, when it was out, I was like, oh dang, I accepted you. Oh well. My mom and I are. I don't think we're best BFFs. No, not like them. But yeah,
it seems to me that they are like tight.
Close.
Like,
They're very close.
He goes to her for help. I think he goes to her for advice. What a relationship! Again, she's not only good at these games; she's good at being a mom. Yeah. Like what else? She should be the person.
Run both of their games. When he's going to get in the bag, he's going to go to her and be like, "Okay, what do I do?" And she's going to run both their games.
And it's really interesting because I did love that Jared pulls Izzy to the side immediately and is like, "You are now sworn to secrecy," and she's like, You got like if you could get me a meet and greet with Suri, that works. Which is what I was saying before about him saying that's her mom. Like Izzy is what I was saying. What would happen if he told people? Because there's the super fans that just want the connection, and Izzy just happened to make the connection on her own, and is going to take advantage of that to her grave.
I'm surprised that Corey hasn't made that connection.
It is surprising.
Kevin thought was gonna make it.
I thought it was gonna be Corey. It was Izzy immediately, and I like how Izzy said I figured it out because I stalked Suri's Instagram page and I see Jarrett all the time. I see Pooh all the time. I know who this is, and I loved that.
Surprised. No, she didn't say, or someone didn't say before. Oh yeah, your mom's Suri. You have all like. Why did before she even got into the house? No one was like, oh yeah, we know about you.
Because so remember, they're all on the stage. And then they go inside. So later on, what they didn't show on here, what she does say, and I sent Sheldon this clip on the feed. She tells Suri about how she knew, and she said that she saw Jared when they were standing on the stage, and she was like, "I'm pretty sure that's Suri's son." And then when he's the first one out, she like looks down and she said, "I was motioning to him that he would say I got him because I was pretty sure that was Suri's son." And then Suri's in the house, and I go to him and tell him immediately, "That's your mom." Because that's the first time, what we saw was the first time they all got to speak to each other. Because they don't get to talk before then.
Gotcha. That's true.
When they all walk in the house in the little groups of 4, that's the first time. That's the first time you get to talk pretty much in like for the first week and a half. Like you've been in sequential for like 10 days, 14 days. So like that's the first time you're speaking to anyone on the show. Yep. So she wasn't in his group of 4, so she didn't say anything before. So the first chance she got, first thing she says to him is, "You're Suri's son," because we saw as the episode led out, him pulling her in the corner and Pinky promising, because all that happened in those moments.
Yep.
Those moments.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together that he was like, "Shut up." Like I said, oh, they're already making friends. I said, I wonder why he picked her. They were in the same group. And dang, I did not catch that.
No, because I saw that. I was like, oh, she knows. Like, she knows.
Now, we're going to talk through, obviously, the later conversations with Suri and with Jared and the 3 of them. But that is a huge threat. The fact that Izzy knows that information, I don't know how comfortable I would be if I were Suri and Jared.
I agree. It is a huge threat, but she is like a stan, and that's what's tough. Is that like she would like not want any harm to come to Miss Suri under no circumstances, and that's what's hard. Is because for myself, and Sheldon, I know you shake your head. I know for myself, if I'm in the house with,
I know because you're in love with Suri.
Suri's amazing. She's phenomenal. If Dan Giesling was in the house, I would do everything I could to help Dan win again. Like, these are like people that is like, it's not a badge of honor for me to have beaten these people. I've watched these people. I've developed my game as a fan after these people. And I would do everything I can to help these people.
But I think like BB is so right in the chat. He asked, would Izzy sacrifice her game for Cirie?
I think yes.
But I think no. And
Let
the
me say-
reason I think no is because Cirie wouldn't sacrifice her game for Cirie.
That doesn't.
And so if Izzy's a real big super fan of Cirie and has actually learned from her, I do wonder at some point, when is it going to be they turn on each other?
Izzy would not be able to live with herself if she betrayed Cirie and also didn't win. Right? If she betrays Cirie and then also doesn't win.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, obviously, as soon as it comes out, it's going to be a big deal. But I don't think Izzy would do it now. I think later, as it gets closer and it's coming down to it's me, your son, and Cirie, like that might be when she plays her advantage.
But the difficulty with I kind of agree with you, Chantae, but the difficulty is the longer she keeps their secret, she becomes part of being in on it, right? And it's like the fact that the two of them are together is bad enough. The fact that the two of them are together, don't tell anybody, it makes it even worse. The fact that the two of them are together, don't tell anybody, and then Izzy keeps their secret until it's good for her. It sort of reminds me of the Michael Brunner thing where he kept the information until it was good for his game, right? And so, like, the longer they're together, like, I think Kevin's right, they might just have to be stuck together. But, one of the benefits for Cirie is that the thing about Big Brother is that you actually need to win. You need to win competitions to do well. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for Cirie in this game over everything else. So even if Izzy does bring her further and they all bring together further, I think Izzy has a far better chance of winning competitions than Cirie does. And maybe Izzy just doesn't have to make that move ever.
So here's one thing that's interesting. We saw the scene. Normally we don't jump ahead like this, but we see the scene where Izzy is talking
to crazy, Kev.
Well, we're talking the scene where Izzy
keeps messing it up. It's okay.
When Izzy's talking to Cirie and Jared comes in there and says, "Mom," and then Cirie freaks out a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, she knows," and then starts talking. And Izzy is, if you look at Izzy's face, she's like happy to be in the room in this moment, right?
Yeah,
she's just happy to be in this room. On the feeds, when Izzy talks to Jared, she calls Cirie mom. Right? When she's saying, like, when she's talking about it, she's like, hey, mom's was saying blah, 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 blah.
She's part of family now.
She's part of the family, right? On the feeds, I don't know if they're going to show in the episode. On the feeds, though, she tells Cirie that, obviously, I'm not going to come between you and your son, and I'm happy to go out 3. We all get money. And now she may be saying that because of game, but I don't feel that because I think that she is that kind of fan. And Cirie, and like not all players create this, but I think Cirie is one of the few people that creates this kind of fandom. Because I know that, like I said, myself, I know that Cirie is one of the few people that I would sacrifice my own game for because I've seen her lose so often and I've seen her play so well. And it just not, she, as you know, Sheldon, Micronesia, they, instead of having a final 3, they have a final 2. Cirie goes out at 3 because they normally had a final 3. For whatever reason, they do a 2, and she goes out at 3 because Parvati and Amanda knew they would lose to Cirie, but they knew they were losing at 3 to Cirie. Once it becomes a 2, sorry, Cirie's got to go. As we know in Game Changers, at 6, we get advantage getting. Everyone is safe from some kind of immunity
except Cirie.
Cirie doesn't even get a vote. But she goes home because she's the only one that doesn't have an immunity idol or didn't win immunity or didn't get a necklace from somebody else, right? Like that's the way she's gone out in these other games is just, it's heartbreaking, if you will. So it's like
criminal.
Yes. And so for Cirie to play as well as she does, and then that to happen. I mean, the one time she goes out early, they were on a crusade to take her out first, so that way she could not get the numbers around her.
Yeah.
Right? And so I know that BB asking the chat, would I seriously throw away $750,000 to be a fan? It's more than that because Cirie is not just a fan. Cirie helped teach me how to play this game. She's a mentor, if you will, because having watched her play has gotten me where I am, which is the same reason why I think it's crazy when people think that there's some time where Cirie's going to vote out her son. That's never going to happen.
No,
That will
Cerie's never voting out her son, and Cerie is coming after anyone that votes out her son.
Correct.
But going back to the whole Izzy point, I think that's why it's scary for Izzy, because in the DR, Izzy's talking about how like she has this information, and that wraps them around her finger. And I'm like, are you really going to weaponize this information? Because if you are, you need to do it sooner rather than later. Because to your point, you can't sit on it. The longer you know, the more you're complicit.
And even that DR comment, I felt the genuineness was when she was sitting in the room and smiling as Jared had the conversation with Cerie. I felt that was much more genuine than her DR session. Because even when she said it, there was no like vitriol or no like gloating in it. Like it was like when Ian told Boogie to pack his bags and get to stepping. Like Ian had that like gloatness in him. So Chantae and BB14, there was 4 legends that entered the game. One of them was Mike Boogie. He had one. Ian was a longtime fan, but was not a fan of Boogie, and he told him to pack his bags and get to stepping when he got rid of him. And that's not. I didn't feel that from Izzy at all.
No, but it's also a game, and you know, week 17, because we're probably going to get all the way there with 100 days. She might say, "Gosh darn it! If I don't do this, you know."
If Izzy does it, it's going to be in tears. It's going to be through tears, and she's crying, and she's going to be quivering, and she's going to be pleading for mercy as she does it.
But I just sort of wonder if it's like I wouldn't be surprised if she gets rid of Cerie, but doesn't reveal the secret.
I think you have to get rid of Cerie before Jared, because if you get rid of Cerie, I think Jared will fall in line. If you get rid of Jared, Cerie will go scorched earth.
I don't know.
I can see that. I can see that. She's a mama bear, right? She's a mama bear. She's going to go, and everyone will pay, and she will not stop until she's dead or she kills everyone.
Yeah, but then she's just gonna die. So.
That escalated very quickly, Kevin.
Well,
die in this thing? I'm not watching.
This is the red wedding. This is
Big Brother.
Well, and honestly, like with Izzy being with them, based off of what we've seen off of 2 episodes, I think they're prime candidates for the double eviction.
That's when you have to do it. Yeah. There's usually a double eviction. That's when it's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be quick. It's gonna have to be quick in order for it to be painless. Going back to the show though, we get Cherie in there. She's chatting with everybody. Immediately we see that Riley and Jags are bonding over this juggling thing, which was a really funny thing. What happened was Jag was telling people that he was teaching Riley how to juggle. Riley already knows how to juggle, so they're using it to like connect with people. He's like, I saw the extended part on the feeds. Jag's like, I just taught her how to juggle, and then Riley is juggling like a pro. And she's like, I just learned right now. And then Blue's like, let me try. And it doesn't work. She's like, oh, you might not be as quick of a study. Then they laugh, and she's like, no, I already knew how to juggle. It was a joke. So we see that. We see Cameron and Red starting to connect over being the country duo kind of guys. And that's like usually what we see right there at the beginning. We see them all get into the living room, and Chantae, just like every Big Brother season, you get this session where everybody goes through what their name is, where they're from, what they do. This is your first chance to really lie if you want to.
Also, this is my least favorite part of every season.
It happens every single season.
I know, and I hate it every time.
Well, it's the best part because, like, you know, anytime you like join a new team, everyone goes through their names and nobody remembers what your names really are. So you do this right here. You're like, my name is Kevin. I work in sales and I'm 35. And then CJ's like, my name is CJ. I also work in sales and I'm 23. And you're like, one of them is lying. He's got some gray in his beard. I'm not really sure if he's 23.
Well, you've been through some things at 23.
The benefit is they used to go through everybody. Now they only selected the people that are going to be highlighted in the next in the next 2-3 episodes.
Yes.
But what was interesting to me that even after looking at the cast, Bowie Jane still lied about her age.
Right,
Yep.
where Miss Felicia does not.
Felicia
she does not.
Well, I don't think she needs to.
Right.
I think when you're young, when you're in your 20s, the difference between 55 and 65 doesn't mean anything.
Right. And for Bowie Jane, she's in her 40s. She says she's 30 something. No one cares.
34. Nobody cares.
No.
Before you, it's okay.
I don't think I thought she thinks she was going to be the oldest person, but once you realize you're not, there's no reason to continue.
Correct.
With the lie.
The moment Cerise, and I think that's what happened with Felicia, is that she sees Cerise and says, "Cool, I don't have to be in my 50s. Cerise is another older person here with me. It's fine." When you look around, you see Red, you see Felicia, you see Cerise.
You see Heisem.
If I'm Heisem, if I'm Bowie, I'm like, I don't need to lie and say I'm in my 30s.
I don't need to lie. Like I am the sinner here.
The thing about Red is I think he's in his 30s. It's just his beard makes him look old. I think he's in his late 30s. If I remember, 38. He's not old, guys.
Yeah, he looks old.
I remember he has a 21-year-old girlfriend.
How is he 37? Oh my God. I would love to hear about his life because he's been through some things.
Well, we get Cerise telling about how she has 3 kids, 3 boys, all J names. Not Jared though. You know, Jared says he has a child. I don't know if Jared might actually have a child. I don't know. That's possible.
No, it was a joke.
Oh, that's right. It's his dog. That's right. He says his dog. 6-year-old is a dog. Everyone else pretty much told the truth about like who they are, where they're from. Then we get a terrible graphic screen, but then Corey shows up.
He was in the upside down that whole time or something.
Yeah, he was in the nether region. And he reappears. He reads from a card. And then he does his introduction. They bring them in right when the introductions are. And he does his introduction of who he is. Nothing really too eventful in these like introductions other than Bowie Jane and lying about her age for no reason. The introductions were like, as he just said, kind of meh. We get the showmans that you see that they're going to want to push this season with Matt and Riley. You get that. You get Kirsten talking about how cute Matt is. That's a little bit of a drama, of a 3-person triangle drama that they're going to try to push because, you know, as we all know, Chantae doesn't know, but the producers love them a showman, so they're going to try to do their best to get a showmance going. I do
know that has come out. So what was that dude who was on the last season of the challenge and there was his big showmance? Everyone, what was his name? I think his name was Kevin.
No.
Am I getting it wrong? Never mind.
No, there was no Kevin. There hasn't been a Kevin in a long time. So
so sad. So sad.
As BB
1%
said
of Izzy.
BB says in the chat, Izzy made it clear that she likes the ladies and she's committed, but she's 99% lesbian. But that 1% though, she sees how Matt's attractive. And so
he is attractive.
So we get that going there. And so that was fun. Then we get a message from the Horrorverse, maybe one of these other verses where they have fake have-nots.
That's a different show, Kevin.
Was the Horrorverse or the Scaryverse?
Horror, some about being scared. I don't know.
One of them. It was about have-nots.
They're horrible. They're just awful.
It was the have-nots, right? And with the have-nots, we had 4 people volunteer to be have-nots. We get Jared and Corey because Corey's right; he doesn't have a bed yet. So he might as well do it.
Yep.
We get Heisem,
Heisem,
and who's the last have-not? Luke. Luke volunteered to be have-nots. We get to the have-not room.
And the house rejoiced.
Yep, and we get to the have-not room, and everyone has to kick themselves in the ass before you leave the have-not room.
Love it.
You love it, Sheldon?
Yeah, why not? It's silly. Why not?
Yeah, Sheldon likes it. That's that camp Chantae was talking about. That's that. You know, and it's gonna work until it doesn't work.
There have been worse have-not rooms. Like that dog bed looked really comfy. I would not mind it. Right?
I would have called the dog bed first. Like that's what I would have wanted to sleep in that thing because that cheese did not look.
I'd be afraid to fall off the cheese.
The cheese didn't look comfortable. The hot dog
Nowhere
didn't
for
look
your legs.
comfortable.
No, but
What's the last one?
Oh, the floating bed that moves. That would fall if I would get on it.
Yeah.
So, that one's dangerous.
So after this, which is insane, we immediately get into an alliance chat.
Yes, we do. Let's go.
Which is so, Chantae, this doesn't really happen on Big Brother night.
Yeah, I felt like it was early. I was like, damn, buy me dinner first. Like, I don't even know you like that.
Well, you can't make an alliance this early because you don't know who's crazy yet.
Yeah, you don't know these people.
We've seen in BB Can at least some first night alliances that have gotten people quite far.
But a lot of times
this is strange.
A lot of times those first night alliances, when they happen, it's like us four right here on this pod right now. We walked in together. There's no one else around. We promise to look out for each other. Cool. And that usually lasts for a vote or two because at this point we figured out who each other are. But we've made it like a loose agreement, not a named alliance. And that's what we get here.
Yeah.
Kirsten, Riley, Jared, Luke, and Matt are just in a room chatting.
Felix.
And as we know, Jared, Kirsten, Felicia, and Corey are all eligible to be nominated, right? They're all on the block if you're eligible to be nominated. So immediately Kirsten's thinking about how can I keep myself safe? The five of us happen to be in this room. So we are going to make an alliance. Now, for y'all that don't watch the feeds, shockingly, the feeds come on at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. And the first thing on the feeds is the five of them putting their hands in and saying failings 5. That happened at 9 p.m. West Coast time. So the feeds came up with them doing this. And then immediately the people on Twitter, they're like, is this an alliance already? Like, what's going on here? Who are these? I don't even know people's names.
3 hours.
Yeah. We don't even know people's names.
A few hours more than that. But yeah, let's say 6 hours.
Yeah, because if it wasn't live, it probably 6 hours. Like,
that's
what's
crazy?
Yeah, so quick, and
but 2 out of the 5 are nominated to go home. So, like, why would you do that?
Correct. It doesn't make sense, which is why Kirsten does it, and immediately you get Riley and Jared in the DRs being like, I don't know if this is real, but like, I'm not gonna say no. Like, this is not like I got sense enough to not say no, which is true. Like. Yeah. Sure, Kirsten, sure. Then we see Kirsten go talk to Felicia and Sari and says, look, man, how about an alliance over here? Me, you, the 3 of us, and let's bring in Mimi, McCole. 4 of us, alliance there. They're like, sounds good. Look at it. We do have a commonality over here at least. We're all 4 Black women. There hasn't been 4 Black women in the house ever. Let's 4 Black women come together and do this. Okay, cool. Yeah, Sheldon, there wasn't more than 2 Black people until 2 seasons ago. Did you forget about that? and then 2 seasons ago, we got 3 and 3, and that's how we got the cookout. But
okay, you're right.
So there's never been 4 Black women in the house at the same time. So they're like, cool, let's do this. Well, unbeknownst to Kirsten, Cere's son's in the house.
Yep.
When she made an alliance with her son, and then she made an alliance with the mom, and our first chance the first chance to get them to talk, we hear Jared say, I don't really trust Kirsten because she made an alliance with me and a few other people immediately. And then Cere's like, that's weird. She just made one with me immediately. And then that's when Kirsten became target number 1.
Yep.
And I love that Sari was not afraid to go quickly to Felicia, and tell her this. And then Felicia started kind of doing the work.
Yeah.
Oh, Sari and Felicia have been spilling the tea back and forth the entire weekend. If you're watching the feeds, they are together most of the time. Izzy hangs out sometimes and Jared hangs out sometimes. But those 2 are peas in a pod.
But also makes sense for Felicia to do all the work. Felicia is on the chopping block. So give her the information, let her do the work for you, and then 100%. Sit back and wait till your son gets saved.
Is that dangerous that the 2 of them are together?
Who?
Like Felicia and Suri?
No, because they're non-threatening.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, Suri is. If Suri
talked
wasn't
about
Suri,
well, here's the thing. We talked about earlier that you have to win competitions to win Big Brother, and Suri's not really a challenge threat.
Correct.
yeah.
On top of that,
If Felicia gets sent home, what does it matter that she talked to Suri about whatever?
yeah,
in addition, Sheldon, we talked about in our cast preview that very obviously Felicia was a target to go home day one.
truth.
And the older people normally go home, but which is why I said earlier, Suri coming in this game changes everything we talked about with normal cast. Suri getting dropped in changes everything we know, because now Felicia is seen as an ally because she's with Suri. So there's two of them, right? You have that already going in, and they're going to work together. Someone like,
I guess the other part, Kevin, is that maybe it's okay for Suri to chill with Felicia because Jared might be doing the work with the younger ones.
Correct. That's another thing. Remember we talked about how CJ said there was going to probably be a young people versus older people, which we could have saw happen. But with Jared being in there and his mom being in there, he's able to get the information from the young people and give it to the older people. So that immediately changes that dynamic. There and I am fine with Chantae being with Suri being in there with her son. No, but I was being there with her son. And I'm cool with it. It's just that it changes everything that we thought was going to happen on this show, and it's not just because Suri is the expert game player that she is. Her just being there changes the numbers and the dynamic.
Yeah, sure, but that's like every time you have a season of 16 people, one other human person on that cast will change it. Like, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like, I don't think our assessments of the cast are wrong
Not at all.
I just think that the added chess piece makes everything very different.
Exactly. I think our cast assessment was correct. Our game assessment was wrong once Suri got into the game, because how we thought the game would play out, it just doesn't play out that way with Suri in the game because she changes the variables. I mean, and another prime example, we get Corey talking to Riley and how he has to pitch himself a little bit later. The way he has to pitch himself to Riley now is different than he would have had to do it if Suri wasn't in the game. Because with Suri having coached Jared a little bit and talked to Felicia, Suri is seen as an ally to Riley, and she knows that those two, Suri has kind of vouched for the two of them, which has made Corey that much more dangerous. If Suri's not in there, maybe Felicia's an easy pick and Kirsten's an easy pick without even thinking about it.
100%.
And so it just changes everything. And I'm cool with it changing how the dynamic goes, partially because I'm a fan, but also because I like the variable of us being wrong about the game itself,
for sure,
and us having to adapt as fans. But it definitely changes things and how the things break down.
Have we seen, has anybody, sorry, Chantae, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna ask, are they gonna be throwing in other people now, or was this it?
This should be.
I hope not, guys. I really hope not. I always think it's unfair to bring somebody into the game a week or however long after. Like, it's just not fair. So I do hope 17 is it. I would not be surprised if there's an 18.
I hope this is it, but probably not.
With this season going 100+ days, you really don't know how many people are coming in.
Because normally seasons last about 80 to 90. So having that extra week and a half of time means you need an extra week or week and a half of people. So
we're looking at, you might bring somebody completely new, like a legend back in the game. You might have a battle back. You might just have no double evictions. Like, we really don't know what the format of the game is going to be with 17 and one of the longest seasons they've had.
Has Corey revealed his last name and or told Suri that we're both survivors?
So we're both survivors.
We're both in the Facebook group.
So we'll get to that in the feed section of the show. But he has told somebody, but it wasn't Suri.
Interesting. Okay,
and so we'll get to that in the feeds portion. One thing we get the HOH competition. The HOH competition is the balancing one that we've seen in the last few seasons, where you have to go across pick the route to go, and you go down the beams. That ends up being won by Riley. Riley's our first HOH.
Everyone kind of threw it because they didn't want the power.
Correct.
And that's the problem with the first HOH is a lot of people don't want it.
I don't know if that's a problem. It's a interesting. So old wisdom was that you don't want to win the first HOH. As time has gone on, especially since about BB19, especially BB20, it's been seen that if you win the first one, you have the ability to really set yourself up to go deep in the game. The first HOH, BB20, Tyler Crispin. He ends up finishing in second because he's able to create a power structure around himself because no one knows anyone. But being the HOH, you're allowing people to have to come to you early, which allows you to create relationships early.
There is also the opportunity to really try to get the consensus from the house and keep your hands as clean as you possibly can to say, this person is the odd one out. Frenchie was his name, I think. Like the week after he won, it was just easy to get rid of him, right? Like you could
and that's what's interesting because BB20 is Tyler, BB21 is Jackson Mickey, who ends up being the camp director or whatever, and he sends the first person out, but he's able to use that to make a thing for himself, and Jackson wins the whole game. After that, 22 was, I think Cody was the first HOH.
I don't know.
Yes, I think so.
Wins the whole game.
Yes.
Wins the whole game. 23, Frenchie's the first HOH. Frenchie tried to get a consensus, figure things out, promises everyone safety, every person in the house safety. Says Chantae, he says that this is the first season that we have a 50-50 casting in terms of minorities and non-minorities. And so he tells that I don't want a minority to go up on the block. I've seen how this has gone. I don't want that to happen. Also says I don't want an older person to go on the block. Also says I don't want a woman to go on the block, which then leaves like two people.
And then he
also said he didn't want
anyone
he walked in with to go on the block.
Yeah, no one I came in the house with. Don't want them to go on the block. Made all these. He was a politician. Made all these campaign promises. Then he ended up putting 2 black women on the block. So something like that. Also they had teams. They had teams of 4, so he couldn't put anyone from his own team on the block. It was like he made all these promises, but his hands were tied. So he had to go against that. So then we get Kylan as the person of the real first HOH because he gets rid of Frenchie. But with Frenchie being the very obvious person we're going home, Kylan was able to hold meetings and have conversations and work himself into a good position with the people that he was talking to, like Frenchie would, because Frenchie going home was a foregone conclusion. So Kylan was able to really set things up for him to go on deep into the game, and he gets to the final 5 or final 4. He gets the final 4 that way. And then finally we have last season. Who was the first HOH last season? Or Daniel was the first HOH, and he sucked as a person, as a human being. Daniel Durston is one of the worst people I've ever seen on this show. So, you know,
haven't gone and booed him at his show.
I know we needed.
We have like pedophiles on the show.
He got fired. He doesn't work there anymore. I forgot
because everything
we
he
have
did,
pedophiles on the show, Kevin. There's worse than Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel Durston's still the worst.
Oh.
I don't think we've had. There hasn't been pedophiles.
I don't know.
Not on this show. That was on.
There have been people in jail.
We don't talk about that guy. We have got Adam Pac went to jail after he won because he used his money to start a drug ring. So that did happen. But that was different. Now, that
sounds like an interesting show.
But no, this is one of the worst people that's been on the show, and he was the first HOH, and he sucked. But he didn't. But as we saw, though, he didn't use that time. We watched it last season, right? He had a prime opportunity to create something around him, and he chose not to. He chose to ostracize Taylor, right? That was a choice he made, but he had the opportunity to take, because people were coming to him. Remember, Turner and Joseph came to him. Nicole was in there with him. He had people coming to him, and he could have created something, and he chose not to. But you get that opportunity because you have, like you said, the least amount of blood going to get on your hands, because it's like, let's go with like whatever the consensus is. Let's create something to keep me safe next week.
You say he didn't he chose not to go with them. It's not that he didn't choose to go with them. It's he chose to ride with Paloma and whatever she was saying.
Yeah.
So he did make those alliances. He just made them with the wrong people, or in this case, the wrong person.
Because Paloma doesn't even make it out the week.
Yeah.
Well, it sort of sounds, Kevin, like what you're saying is it's really good to win the first HOH if you're a good player.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could say that about every single HOH. It's really good to win every single HOH.
It's not everyone. It's not everyone. Because as the game gets on, like you know where the groups are, where things are.
Yeah, that's true.
But this one is the chances to create. This one's one of the few where you get to create those groups. You get to create those situations for yourself. And which is why, as Chantae was saying, you're watching everyone throw it. You see some gunning for it though, because the ones gunning for it understand that it's important to win this one.
Right. So, okay. So after she picked Corey and Jared to save Kristen, and I get it. She made an alliance with every damn person. I get that, but why was she so surprised? Because she's like, she's my roommate, and I really connected with her, and I'm so surprised.
So,
how?
One thing that was remarkable to me was that when Kirsten gets picked, so we as we see, we'll skip through the talking about getting to the nominations. We'll come back to it because I want to talk about Corey specifically. But we see her talking to Riley about about her possibly staying up there, going up there, however you want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that was remarkable to me is she said, this is the first time we had a chance to talk since we came into the house. Riley doesn't win. So they move into the house Wednesday night, real time. Move into the house Wednesday. She makes, as I said, the feeds come up Wednesday night, and they're making that Failings 5 alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Midday Thursday is when they play the HOH competition. Thursday evening is when she's having the conversations with Kirsten about who's going to go up.
Right.
We went about 24 hours between them talking. If she's telling the truth, that's the next time they're talking. I was sitting on my couch and my mouth was agape when she said, this is our first chance to talk since we made the alliance. You didn't talk to her for a day.
You didn't talk to your alliance member, especially with you being on the block,
being a possible nominee. And you're talking to her now that she's HOH. Like, I don't know. Like, she's had conversations with people this entire time. First night, there's always usually like a race to see how late they can all stay up. They went to bed at about 5 or 6 in the morning, our time, West Coast time.
Yeah.
So
there's plenty of opportunity to talk when you're trying to stay awake.
And we're having these like real surface conversations just to connect. So the first time you talked to her was 5 p.m. Thursday Pacific. Right. She already has things in motion.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of just helped confirm for her that Kirsten wasn't to be trusted, because I'm in an alliance with you. You haven't talked to me, and everyone else has, and they're saying these things, but then you come in at the 11th hour going, oh, we haven't really talked.
That's really a first week thing, because like week 6, you can go 24 hours without talking to an alliance member, because at that point you guys have made moves and have history and have trust. There's no trust together. 24 hours into the game.
I met you yesterday. And even that alliance, if we're like, we're all in the same room, we haven't connected on anything. Right. Immediately that night, that conversation, the next day, if you will, the conversation that Jared's having with Riley, I think happened before she was even HOH. Like, I think that conversation about Kirsten not being someone they could trust. Ms. Felicia was having a conversation on the feeds with America early in the morning that day about how Kirsten couldn't be trusted, because the 4 of them are on the block. So they're starting to campaign to everyone, because you need votes. You need votes too. Like, and we don't know how this is going to go. We don't know 2 people are coming off. So I think those conversations were had before. So if Kirsten doesn't talk to Riley until she's in power,
that sends us clear message about what kind of player and person she is.
And in addition,
that begs to say like her whole performance was a performance to get what sympathy.
It makes it feel that way, right? Because if Miss Felicia's already talked to Riley about how Kirsten needs to go because she's made these a group of five. She made a group of five, and she came to her about making an alliance. You have Jared saying the same thing about, I heard there was another group that she tried to make an alliance with. Now Riley's in the position to pick people to go up there. Riley's like, I heard that she made this alliance, and she comes to me and she's saying like, I'm good, right? No, like you're not really. No, you're not really good.
Absolutely nothing to earn your safety at this point.
Right. And then we see when she gets put up there, she's crying. And the reason she's upset.
Like, did I miss something? Because when did they become BFFs? I was like, I need to be watching these feeds. Apparently, I'm missing all.
No, and you didn't. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. She thought that Failings 5 thing was going to keep her safe. She thought that was good enough. It wasn't. No. And she thought the fact that they slept in the same room before she got the HOH room was going to be enough.
Nope.
And it wasn't. Because it's been a day and a half. It's been 36 hours or so that we've all seen each other. And you didn't talk to me for 24 of it or whatever. Like, that's, like I said, Riley's done things in between, like talk to Suri, like talk to Felicia, talk to Jared, talk to Blue and to Jag and these other people. Right. So it's not going to end up holding any weight, which is why let's get to the Corey conversation, because Corey looked like he was going to be going up.
Yeah. And his talk with her did not seem that strong to me. If I feel like if she didn't, I don't know. I just feel like if Kristen had messed up, Corey might have been in there. It might have been, like, I didn't feel like what he did. I have to sell myself. I'm not very good at it, but I'm gonna try my best. I was like, okay, let's see something. I was like, was that it? Like, I don't know why that worked other than she really just didn't like Kirsten and was like, fine.
And that's exactly what it is she just doesn't trust her. So you don't want to put Corey up next to her because Corey might go home. You don't want to put Jared up next to her because Jared might go home. If you put Felicia up next to her, no one's voting Felicia out.
Right.
Well, so one of the things this entire thing taught me was very simply, it takes a lot more than brain smarts to play Big Brother. And that's obviously obvious to us. But Kirsten, she's a wild genius, right? Like, she graduated school early. She obviously is that. She's obviously not socially genius.
But she has no idea how to play this game.
Right? But I don't even think it's about playing the game. I if she was really that emotionally distraught about being put up because of her relationship, then she doesn't fully understand how relationships are formed, relationships are made, right? And so you need that full player. And I kind of agree with you, Chantae, that like anybody could have walked into Riley's room and said whatever, and they would have been like, yeah, well, as long as that doesn't sound worse than Kirsten, we're good to go.
And which is why it was important for Corey to say, listen, I'm a possibility to go home if I stay up there. 100%. And with me being a possibility to go home, me and you, we could connect with some stuff. I'm not putting you up. I'm not coming for you. I have something to offer you, right? I'm not looking at you later on. I can't say the same thing for other people. And then if you think about competitions, Chantae, you don't know this, Riley's not eligible to play for the next HOH competition. You're not eligible to pay for each one. So every other one you could win. So she could be in danger. And so she's looking for someone that's going to keep her safe. Miss Felicia is probably not going to win the next competition.
So what can she do to help? Yeah.
Correct. Gotcha. Whereas Corey could like offer, I can maybe win. I'm someone that could be an ally to you.
Right.
And he tells her, like, I'm not going to put you up. If you scratch my back, I'm going to scratch yours. And
I'll say that when it was revealed, I was like, first name, I was like, Jared. Second name, Corey. Like, it wasn't a surprise that those were the two she went with.
Right.
I don't think it was ever going to be, though.
No.
And so we get to the final nominations. That's exactly what happens. Kirsten thought that the Failings 5 would keep her safe. She thought, like, I win this room. I said, us 5, let's go. Cool. This room of the 4, let's go. I got 9. I'm good to go, baby. That's what I'm saying. 0. Ooh. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Any other thoughts from this episode? Chantae, I want to know your thoughts overall from this first episode that you ever watched. Or second.
It's my second. Yeah, I watched this.
Right.
I mean, it was better. I think mostly because the announcer changed.
So the biggest problem with Big Brother is Julie Chen, the Moonves.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, it's hard for me to get. But
some gameplay.
It was nice to actually get into the gameplay. I think the first one, when they're just standing around for most of the time and they have those cheesy intros of like, let me tell you about myself and blah, blah, blah. That was a drag. And then they did the competitions. And those even were kind of a drag. Like the one where like she had to like kick herself in the butt. I was like, why is this so hard for you to figure out? Why are you sit on the thing? And like she kept, I don't know. It was annoying.
She was not good at it.
She was not good at it. But like, so
I think she was
a lot more interesting. Was she tired? She was doing that from the beginning.
She got up to 50 and she was like,
look around and see how everybody else is doing. I'm back. But it was nice to see some competition, some gameplay, and like actually see where it was going. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, we're doing this to get to this place, because like it's an interesting structure, especially when it's like 3 episodes a week or something.
CJ, thoughts on the first episode? Second episode?
I mean, it's just kind of standard Big Brother. I think it sucks for Riley, but also it was very helpful for Riley that she just had to take 2 people down that were already nominated instead of having to paint 2 targets. It helps her just be like, look, I could only control what I could, and then the house made a choice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Put it on the people.
Yeah, I didn't put you up. I just didn't take you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it was classic Big Brother episode. Here's the thing that made it one of my favorite Big Brother episodes in a long time, like for seasons, because it's a really good cast. This is a really good cast. I don't think there's anybody I don't like. Like, it's just fun to watch these people. And then you put Suri in there. It's a cherry on top. It's completely unfair to everybody else because she's so freaking good. But also, she also, with that unfairness of her being good, it's a big target. But the cast is great. Like, even Luke, I shouldn't like him. But for some reason, there's something about him. I'm even liking Luke.
They somehow figured out a non-problematic cast for the first time ever, I would be shocked.
CJ, it's episode 2. Relax.
Exactly. You're talking about you like everyone. Someone's going to be problematic. We just don't know who yet.
Felicia.
Well, let's talk about that. Before we do, thank you for joining us. If you're taking off now, we're about to get into the live feed spoiler section. Make sure you like and subscribe. As you know, when we get to 250 subscriptions, we're going to be giving away a golden Power of Veto signed by the one and only James Ryan from BB6. So go ahead and get that subscription, hit the subscribe button to help us out. We would love that. You can follow me at KG Fury on the Twitter. I be talking about Big Brother and posting about Big Brother stuff. You can follow CJ at Keyboard Sarcasm on the Twitter. He sometimes posts about Big Brother stuff. Sheldon and Chantae do not have Twitters, so don't follow them.
Well, it's not even called Twitter anymore, so
called X. But you can also find Chantae on Instagram at the Villain Chantae. You can find Chantae on Instagram at the Villain Chantae because she is the villain.
I just want to point out Kevin started that Instagram, so
I did. I made that Instagram for her. That was that's what she did. So if you are taking off now, thank you for joining us. We're gonna give you a few seconds to get out of here if you don't want to hear the spoilers from the feeds. That is it. That's the hashtag, and that's on Instagram. Follow her on Instagram.
That is on Instagram.
So you can see some villainous things from Chantae. We're gonna give you guys about 10 seconds to get up out of here. Good night to those that are leaving. For sticking around. Let's get into the spoilers, guys. Okay, so let's start off with Corey. You asked Chantae why that conversation did not seem that compelling. And Sheldon, you asked, did he say his name? Did he say who he is? When he talked to Riley, he went in there and attempted to figure out how he could convince her. Because as we know, Corey is a 7-time persuasive speaking champion or something like that, which is remarkable to me. So he goes in there and he's like, all right, listen, I know I'm on the block or whatever, but like, let's figure out how basically I cannot be on the block. He tells her that like, we both have a Nashville connection. You live in Nashville. I go to school in Nashville. Like, I would never come for you. You're not someone I would look for. We have this Nashville thing. We might have people in common. She's like, cool. I get to feel a little bit of a vibe from you. We have that connection right there. He then says to her, which is why I think if you leave me on the block, we should not do that. But Jared is someone we should probably consider keeping up there next to Kirsten, because Jared's not going to go home. No one's going to vote Jared out, but it makes it look like you're doing something because we're getting out of Kirsten. She's like, ooh, but I like Jared. I want to be on my side. And this is where I loved it. Because Corey then goes, you know, I love Jared too, actually. I love Jared too, because Jared is like a physical threat that we could probably work with, which is why we should probably put up there Miss Felicia, because he just easily pivoted.
God, so quick.
And I loved it because him making that statement made him just seamlessly pivoted to something else. So he's like, cool. What about Miss Felicia? She's not gonna go home. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen to her. And then she's right. As he's pitching this, she's like, oh, but Miss Felicia, she's tied to Suri. And he's like, right. And Suri is super threatening in this game because she played Survivor before, and you know that. And then Riley goes, right, she played Survivor, and I just love her so much. And he's like, right, which is why I love her too, and I wouldn't want anything to happen to her. So we're back to me, but Miss Felicia, nothing's going to happen to Miss Felicia. Literally, that's how the conversation goes. And then you're me to Sheldon.
Does he actually say Ms. Felicia?
So Miss Felicia, Miss Felicia's name is Miss Felicia because Jared said to Felicia and Suri that his mom taught him to respect his elders. So he can't just call her Felicia.
No.
He's going to have to call her Miss Felicia.
And how about Ms. Suri?
And so when he said that, Suri then called her Miss Felicia. Izzy calls her Miss Felicia. So the whole house calls her Miss Felicia.
But nobody's calling Suri Miss Felicia because
Jared then says later another time in front of some people that Suri reminds him of his mother. So he's going to call her Mama C. So people have been calling Suri Mama C.
That's a good way to protect yourself in case you fuck up.
So
even better, yesterday, Jared told Blue that his nickname amongst his friends is Pooh.
So
Suri called his family name is Pooh. So he goes by Pooh. She's Mama C, and she's Miss Felicia. So for the two of them,
a bit of strategy. I know he inherited a little something.
For the two of them, he's getting called Pooh all around the house. He's called Pooh because that's what his nickname is. That's what his Instagram is. That's what when Wendell and Bryce posted about him being on the show, they said good luck to Pooh. His name is Pooh. He's called Pooh. She's Mama C. Sometimes he shortens it and says Mama, and nobody thinks nothing of it.
Nobody thinks anything of it. Wow.
Because he's talking to his mom.
Could you explain this to me? He has the same cheekbones as his mother.
You're starting to sound racist, Sheldon. Careful now.
I saw my face because it is my face.
One of my favorite things someone said on Twitter was, how this man walking around with his mama face and his mama face is right there next to them. Nobody.
And that's when you say, "Oh, so you're saying all black people look alike?"
Trying to say,
No,
like,
no,
that's why they
those
haven't
two.
said it.
Those
That's
two.
why they haven't. But that's why they haven't said it, because that's a you start that conversation, start going downhill. It's a
Yeah.
runaway thing. You can't do it.
We
And then
talked
you
about
become the
that.
problematic house guest.
Like, my mom and I look exactly alike, but if we go in there and be like, I don't know who that lady is. What are you trying? Like, you can't do it.
I'm a spitting image of my father. Spitting image. If you went in there and we were both in there and you said, "Is that your dad?" Come on, man, really?
Like,
wow,
what?
wow, Sheldon.
Yeah,
wow.
but then you make me feel
23?
bad.
Yes,
What?
Sheldon. Of course, I make you feel bad. I'm trying to make you feel bad because I don't want you to bring this up
Gameplay.
again. I don't want you to bring this up again.
Okay.
Everyone is probably thinking it, and then everyone probably feels bad when they think it because they're like, "Dang it!" I just feel they're bad. Like there's like a
Okay, but hold on. Mimi's not saying anything. Kirsten's
So,
not saying
like
anything.
you just said, though, that's another one. Nicole, her nickname is Mimi, right? They just got the nicknames flowing. Everybody calling everybody by their nicknames. It's great. It's fantastic. Pooh's in the house. Mimi's in the house. Mama C's in the house. Miss Felicia's in the house. That's fantastic. Earlier, we had talked about Jared having Sari in the house. We saw in the episode that conversation that she says that she has with them. They're sitting on the couch. And this is after they had the whisper conversation that we saw. They move to the couch and Blue walks by them and she says, "Oh, and by the way, I heard you talking to Kirsten later. Tighten that up. Don't be talking like that." Everything we saw, that was a fantastic movie. He's like, "Okay, that's good." Later on, they're having another conversation, and she's like, "Stop bringing my name up. Like you're pitching me, like you're pitching like who you want to work with, and you keep saying that you have a good relationship. You like me, you like Miss Felicia, you like Izzy. Stop bringing my name up. Stop talking about me." And he's like, "Okay." And it was like it was why I was like mad about my Jared take, because watching Sari coach Jared in real time, and as Sheldon said about their relationship, everything she's saying, Jared's taking it. He understands he's playing with Jordan. He understands he's playing with LeBron, right? So when LeBron says put a block like this, he's putting his body there. He's turning his body because that's what he's told to do. And it's almost unfair. Like it's almost unfair. And I'm fine with it, but I think it's unfair because I've had this one perception of this man, and I said that he would not be his mama, and he's not. Anytime he does something that's not like his mama, she fixes it. And I don't like it.
So, Kevin, are you also partially jealous that you're not Jared?
No.
I think
I
you
love my
want
mama.
her as your mother.
No, I love my mama. I
like
love
a
my
second
mama.
mother. They could be lesbians. It's okay.
I love my mama.
Not trading in Mama P.
No. I love my mama. So I would
want to be around Sari, is what I
well, Izzy is living most fans' dream. Like
it's like a sage. This you get to learn from a master. Like
and then you vote her out.
Some of my she'll be on the All-Star, and she'll take everything she learned from you.
Some of my favorite spoilers have been happening. I'm gonna tell you guys about some alliance structures in a minute. But another thing that I've loved seeing on the feeds is watching Corey explain to Jared who Sari is. Is one of my favorite things to watch ever in life, because at one point Corey is fangirling over Sari, and he's like, "I just have to say, I'm gonna calm it down, but I gotta say, Micronesia, you got screwed." And then she's like, "Oh, thanks, blah, blah." And he's like, "So how's Survivor? Like, how's this compare?" She's like, "Well, I get to eat a sandwich here. I didn't get to eat a sandwich on Survivor." And then Jared lays down, and then she like talks about how Survivor's different. And he's like, "Oh, that's right. How? I'm sorry to make you start over, but like, how is being on Survivor?" And then Corey's like, "She already went through that, man. Like, it's okay. It seems tough, man." He's like, "I ain't never really seen the show, so I didn't." That's cool though. That's really cool. Later on, Corey and Jared's talking. He's like, "I think Sari's cool." And then Corey's like, "Yeah, man, she does all this, that, and the other." And then he's like, "So is she like a loyal player or like?" Well, he's like, "Oh, that's right. You haven't seen the show. So she's like super loyal, and the people she works with usually get to the end, or she cussed him before." It's like, okay, but she's like loyal and someone we should like probably work with. He's like, yeah. We should definitely. Okay, cool. That sounds good.
Well, I mean, if Corey's saying don't work with Suri, Jared's like, this is public enemy number one.
Well, they already felt that the first night, but as days have gone on, they realized that Corey's a fan and like is also willing to do almost anything for Suri, which is kind of like how it goes with Suri specifically. Because as she creates these relationships, Riley keeps saying that we need to keep Suri safe because she likes Suri and Miss Felicia because they talk to her. In fact, yesterday on the feeds, Suri is sitting on one side of her, Miss Felicia's on the other side of Riley, and Miss Felicia just bluntly says, and this is not going to work for nobody else, by the way. If you're listening to this and you're going to try this in the game, don't do this. Miss Felicia turns to Riley and says, so who are you aligned with? Point blank, period.
Point blank. Let me.
And she says, who are you aligned with? And then Riley starts naming them.
I like
because let's get into this alliance structure situation. There are two sides of the house. When Jared was coming on the block, he came to Riley and said, we should create an alliance. It should be me and you. And who are you good with? She's like, Jag is my number one. He thought it was going to be Matt because she thought he sees a little flirtatious vibes between Matt and Riley. He thought it was going to be Matt. He's really good with Matt. Jared had went and made a 3-person alliance with himself, Luke, and Matt, thinking that that's what he would need. He then goes to Riley and says, let's make a group. Who are you good with? She says, my number one is Jag, point blank, period.
Is there any showmancing going on there? Is Jag single?
I don't know, but there's no showmancing right now.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So she's like, that's who I trust the most. He makes me laugh. I love hanging out with him. Jared's like, okay, cool. So let's make it an alliance. Me, you, Jag, Matt, and Luke. And she's like, all right. And he's like, then we can have some people on the outside, like Suri and Miss Felicia and Izzy. Fantastic structure for Jared, by the way. That is a great move for Jared.
He's the nexus of everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Riley says, love it. Great idea. Love it. Let me talk to Jag about it. She goes to Jag. Jag's like, I like the idea, but I don't like those peoples. Let's do this. Me, you, and Blue are very close. So they're the nucleus. The three of them. They then had another conversation, and I love it, with Matt and Cameron. So then there are 5. Then, this is where they messed up, but then they go to Corey, Jared, and America and brought them in to make an 8. It's called an onion alliance. So that there's different layers, but you have, like, that's the terminology.
Yes.
On the onion alliance is that way you always have the majority in the majority, right? So in 8, 5 makes the majority in 8. 3 makes the majority in 5. That way they're always in control of the nucleus. The problem was when they went to problem is when they went to Corey, they told him the 5 of us were talking. We want to bring you in. Corey is a smarter game player than that. He understands that he's 6.
Yeah, he clocked it right away.
Yeah. But he said, of course I'm down. Then they're like, let's go talk to Jared. Jared is 7.
Yes.
Now, their problem with their philosophy is that as soon as they told Jared, Jared's like, bet. Then went to Izzy and said, we need to talk to Mom and tell her about this alliance that we got going on. Yes, our mom.
Yes.
About the alliance we got on.
Izzy's part of the family now. You missed that. She is in there.
Yeah.
Suri's like the white lesbian daughter I never knew I needed.
We need to go talk to Mom.
Hey sis, we gotta go talk to Mom. But like that stuff is why I've been saying like Izzy's not going nowhere, because those kind of conversations, Izzy is she loves being a part of it. There's at one point where Cerise talking to Jared at the end, she says, I love you, and she gives him a hug. And Izzy is just in the back, just cheesing, because she gets to sit in the room while they're authentically themselves. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like by the 3 of them being in the room, it covers the fact that they are mother-son. They're not having any secret 2-person conversations, but Izzy knows that she's on the inside of this thing. So CJ, you were saying that it has to be sooner than later. It's already too late.
It is already too late.
She's
That's what
in the
I'm saying.
family.
She is
She's-
invested.
Yeah,
She's already
in-
planning Christmas. Like, so whose house?
Well,
Yeah,
because
do we go to your house?
if Izzy is the one that spills the secret at any point going forward, it's actionable information, and I got to get rid of Jared and I got to get rid of Suri, but I also have to get rid of Izzy because I no longer trust her.
Yeah. So there's a group of 8.
100%.
A group of 8 over here. Because Suri has this knowledge, she has created a separate group. The nucleus is Suri, Izzy, Felicia. Here, Hisam? Hisam's name? How you say that? Hisam? Hisam's in the nucleus of this other group. And Bowie Jane. So
She's my lover.
Bowie Jane's not on the feeds a lot, so I don't really know her name. So the 5 of them though are a nucleus, right? Then they realized that they had to bring in Red, and they brought in they brought in Red and they brought in Luke. So they have 7. Then they obviously brought in McCall. So now they have 8.
Unbeknownst to them, they're also allied with Jared.
Correct.
Yes,
And that's the key.
Jared is at the center of every alliance.
Yes, and he is. And Jared is the one.
I feel like Suri is there, so Jared will win. That is her whole purpose for being there. She don't even want to win. She wants
I
to
don't
win.
think she wants to win.
Yes, if
I
it's
think
going
she
to be
wants to
between
win
her
if
and her
it's ever
son.
with Jared. But I don't think she wants to win. She wants him to win.
Yes,
She wants to sit final 2 with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then be like, bye.
I don't even know if she'd be like, bye. I think she'd be like, we won. We won. No matter what happens, we won.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were sitting final 2 together and she said, give my son the money.
I don't know that she says give my son the money. I think she says I got to play this with my best friend. I got to play with my son. Whatever happens, we won. Doesn't matter what happens.
Right.
I don't think she says give my son the money. I think she's like, it doesn't, because at that point, legitimately, this is not like a couple, right? This is not like a couple that are dating or anything like that. This is a mother and a son. We did win.
Well,
We did win.
If I was there, I would vote for Suri because ultimately the money would go to him. So
But yes, that's what I'm saying.
and
I
she
don't
has
think
other kids that need money too, probably.
and I don't think Jared cares if he loses to his mom. Like, I don't
Because
think
even if
it's
he did win, he'd be giving money to his mom. Like, that's the point. It wouldn't matter at that point.
correct. And like one thing I was talking about before, man, like it's interesting because like, I mean, the 3 of us are Black and Sheldon's Jewish. I'm not going against my mother. Like, I'm not, there's no pride in me beating my mom, right? I have no pride in that.
No.
And like,
Yeah.
when I say that,
Well,
right.
but
We all won already. It's done.
No,
The
and the reason
money's
I say
coming
that,
home.
well, because you see, like, Sierra Easton took out her mom in Survivor, right? And people are like waiting for this moment where Suri cuts Jared or Jared cuts Suri. Never. That's not going to happen. That's not it's not really in our culture for the most part.
It's not gonna happen.
That's
Well,
not
also,
really,
side note to that, in Big Brother, you can flat out refuse to vote for someone where it doesn't affect the game because there's either not enough votes or the HOH will decide. Versus in Survivor, you might have to vote for your mom because otherwise it goes to Rocks.
but I'm going to Rocks for my mom.
Oh, I'm going to Rocks for my mom too, but
I'm
not
going to
everybody
Rocks.
will.
I don't think
And
a lot
it
of
goes
people-
back to what you're saying about culture.
in our culture, I'm going to Rock. If I don't go to Rocks for my mom, I have bigger problems. This is
Yeah. Go home, right? If you don't go to Rock,
I can't go home.
change your ticket.
I
You just
live
need to
out
go
here
to Rock.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone else is going to have
You
to change the
live in
vote
the
because I'm
jungle.
not.
You live in the Survivor jungle forever.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, hey, whatever happened to Kevin? Well, he didn't go to Rocks for his mom. So
Have you
that's
seen
it.
Survivor? Oh, I see what happened to Kevin. He didn't. Yeah, no, he's still out there. I get it. He's still out there.
He can't get home.
Pretty sure he still lives out there.
And also, pity votes are a thing in Big Brother. So, like, everyone else could say Mon's going home, and he'd be like, nope, I ain't doing it.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way I'm voting against my mom. And he tells her, the vote's on you, and I can't. I'm not voting you, but I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to stop others.
How does this work? So I completely agree with you guys. I couldn't do that to. I couldn't do that to I couldn't do that to you, Kevin. I couldn't do it to anybody I love, right?
I do it to you.
I could vote Kevin out.
Sheldon, thanks for being a real one, Sheldon.
I could not. Anybody that
Sheldon, you can go with them.
But how do they work through this if she does have to go, and there will be an extra hinky vote that is not a hinky vote because Jared didn't vote for his mother, right? Like there is going to potentially be this uncomfortable situation where there's a random vote at some point because Jared won't vote for Suri and Suri won't vote for Jared.
Well, in this situation, Miss Felicia's gone. In this situation, Miss Felicia's gone. Izzy's gone. Riley's gone. Like these people that have Corey's gone. Like any of those people,
something's gone bad.
Yeah, they're similar to the cookout. You could just say, "I'm not voting for someone that looks like me."
Yeah, but then you could vote. But then he could vote Kirsten. He could vote Felicia.
But you can say, "I'm not voting for someone."
Because she actually looks like him.
Yeah, literally, he looks like her.
I'm not voting for someone that has my face.
I meant that.
So can I ask, if that happens, could he then come out? Could they?
No. You cannot then say that was my mom.
I don't think you can either.
Then people are going to be like, you had this unfair advantage where you had your mom here. All of us are missing our family. Yada, yada.
You cannot say anything until finale night.
Yeah.
No, your speech has to be on. Oh yeah, you know that woman sitting beside you? That's my mama.
Yeah, exactly. Other spoilers. So the main spoilers is that there's two sides. They think that they have Jared. They don't have Jared. Jared is a mole.
That's a dangerous place because that's kind of like he's everywhere. Like it's not. It's scary.
But there's so many alliances right now. Like because, as Kevin said, they're onion alliances, and it's two sides of the house. And you have 7 or 8 people. You don't know who has the loose lips yet.
Yeah.
It's not until you get down to 7 or 8 people when those layers start getting pulled back where you can start pinpointing who was the one sharing information. Well, and at that point, he might have the majority of 4 out of 7.
Okay. That's part of it, right? Because yesterday, Cameron was having a conversation with Red, and they spilled about both sides to each other. The whole alliance breakdowns. There is a loose LGBT alliance between Blue, Izzy, and Hysam, and Hysam and Izzy don't really trust Blue, but Blue has kind of given up information about the alliance. Remember, I said that Miss Felicia and Suri were sitting next to her. Miss Felicia asked Riley who's in her alliance, and she says, "Well, I like Jag a lot, and I'm real good with Blue. I like Cameron, and I like Corey." Yesterday, also Red walked into the HOH room, went to Riley and said, "From what I'm seeing, I feel like you, Jag, and Blue are together, and Cameron and Matt, and probably Corey and Jared. That's what I'm thinking." And Riley looks like a deer in the headlights because he named them all. And they have no idea how all the people know, though everyone has said something to somebody. But Jared had told them all to begin with. But Cameron, who is the one that people don't like online and in the house, is because he's walking around as if he's gotten this game figured out. And he thinks that the other side was too chaotic to come together, and that only the 8 of them were playing. So he underestimates Suri. People didn't like him after night 1, because night 1 he said that this is his time to play. Suri needs to go. So the internet was already out on him. Like the internet had already turned on him. I had already turned on him.
The house turned on him too.
Yeah, the house turned on him too, though, because they're like, he's walking around like he's too big for his britches. So currently, the veto was played, and it was won by Hysam.
We're gonna get there.
I'm gonna get there.
Hi, Sam.
Hysam. It was won by Hysam. As long as I'm not calling him Hyman, that's what Jared did. Jared called him.
No, you don't understand. Somebody else told him that.
Yeah. They said, I think his name is Hyman, but no.
Yeah.
Heisem.
And
The veto was won by
like, that's
Heisem.
what happens when you lose your virginity.
Yes, that's the reason.
The nurse is teaching him.
Thanks, Mom.
So the veto was won by Heisem. And it's such an interesting situation because going into it, Riley wanted to pick Heisem to win the veto, right? She wanted him to pick him to play because he was not in the alliance, and therefore they thought that he would keep the votes the same to make, because everyone's telling them that Miss Felicia is fine. Everyone wants to work with Suri and Miss Felicia, so that's fine. Riley's made it clear that's what she wants to do, so she was going to pick him. She does pick him, but she draws his name out the bag as opposed to getting Houseguests' choice. So she's a little upset about that because she wanted to be able to pick him herself to show that I've chosen you, not that it's just a random thing.
Yeah, you want to curry favor.
Right. Heisem wins the veto. During the veto competition that we're going to see on Wednesday, somehow, very obviously, Riley looks like she's throwing it. The reason that's important is because Izzy and Suri see that she's throwing it, and Izzy was convinced that it was to backdoor Suri, which caused a little bit of a panic yesterday or on Saturday, because Izzy's saying that this is the backdoor you, and Suri's like, you don't think I thought that? So then she goes and she talks to Riley, and Riley's like, no, like I want to work with you and Miss Felicia. And one of the ways that like Suri's getting to watch Suri play is just amazing, because the night before she sits down with Riley and she tells Riley, you seem to be real smart and you seem like you have what it takes to win this game. And she like chuckles. She's like, no, you do. You can win this game. I believe you can win this game. Like, you got to believe in yourself. And she like gives her this pep talk, which makes her endeared to Suri. Like, she wants to, like, Suri just has this. Yeah, correct. And then she tells her, I'm in a little bit of a pickle. I want to save Corey, but that means Miss Felicia has to go up. And Suri says, I'll talk to Miss Felicia for you. And then you can talk to her too. We're going to make it okay. It makes it feel like Suri has her back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Suri works. So when she goes up there and is like, are you going to back, like, I'm hearing you're going to backdoor me? Or like, what's that? Like, who's the replacement nom if it gets used? She's like, Luke. I've told you Luke is going to be Luke. She's like, cool. As she like leaves, she goes downstairs. She goes to Jared and says, have you heard any other conversation other than it being Luke? He's like, no, I heard it's going to be Luke. She turns to Izzy and is like, what the heck, man? Like, calm down. Calm
like, you're creating
don't ring any alarm.
Exactly. Correct. Later on, Izzy's crying and Suri is like consoling her. And she's like, I'm a little paranoid and I don't know if I could do this. And she's like, it's okay. Like, you're going to be telling me this one day. Like, I'm going to be freaking out. Like, it's fine. Izzy's like, how I almost got you in trouble. Like, I almost made trouble for it. It's like, no. Like, exactly. Mama, I'm so sorry, Mama. And she's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. But apparently it was so obvious that she was throwing the comp, that those two came and talked to her about it. Izzy talked to her about it. Red asked her, did she throw the comp? She's like, no. But they don't know about that other group. So Riley and Jag want to backdoor Izzy soon. Don't want to do it now because she doesn't want Suri and Miss Felicia to get mad at her.
Why?
Yeah.
Why does she not want them to get mad at her?
No, why does she want to backdoor Izzy?
Because they think Izzy is going to get together another group eventually. They don't know that there's a group already done, and Suri put it together.
It wasn't even her. Yeah, she's just along for the ride.
So they, as BB said, those questions also made Riley extremely suspicious of Izzy, and so Izzy starts looking at everything Izzy, Riley's looking at everything Izzy's doing. She sees her talk to Luke for an extended period of time, and says, "That's the first soldier. That's the one she's trying to recruit." Mind you, Luke's the last one because ain't nobody talking the game to him. Nobody feels good about that dude. Yeah. So he's the last one they're getting on board, and now he's locked in with that group too. So there are two sides with Jared in the middle, and Jared is now a secret final two with Corey and has brought Corey to this other side because Corey is now also working double agent because he knows he's number 6. And right before we jumped on here, Sari had a conversation with Corey and said, you could either be number 6 or 7 over there, or you could be in here where everybody's got an equal share. And Corey likes that pitch a lot better than being told the 5 of us came together and we like you.
And you're here now.
Side note, why would you ever say that?
Mistake. It's a mistake.
That's just, if you know anything about the game, you have him come up to the room and then you organically have a conversation about forming an alliance. Meanwhile, everyone else already knew they were in an alliance, but this is a new alliance with a new name for the 6 that's different than the name for the 5.
And they got a name for all of them, and that's what's kind of weird is because the 3 of them had a name, and they went to the 5, right? They added Cameron. They talked to Cameron and Matt. When they talked to Cameron and Matt, they made it. Jag says, we're 5 up here, or the 5 of us are up here. I was just thinking, like, why if the 5 of us get together? Like, what if we do something? And then we get they made it like you're saying, they made it as organic as it could be. Mistake that almost happened there is that Blue says, I have a great name for us. The Handful. The Handful. Because there's 5 in a hand. There's the Handful, the 5 of us.
We got it.
Now, when I was looking at some other things on the internet, some people on Twitter, when I was listening to a live feed update, they're like, that's almost a mistake because Blue had the name ready to go, like locked and loaded, ready to go. And they luckily Cameron and Matt didn't pick up on how quickly she had that name, but the 5 looked good.
I mean, that's like Frenchie coming in saying, I always wanted to name an alliance the Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think anything of it.
Correct. So then you ask CJ, it's a mistake. Why would you do that? Riley and Blue are the ones that went to Corey and said, we want to talk to you. The 5 of us were talking. We want to bring you in. Jag knows better.
Yeah.
Jag's the one that's like, let's do this, but let's do it organically. Jag's not the one that got Corey in the room, Jared in the room, America in the room, and then said it. It was Riley going to them and saying, hey, we got this group. We want you to be in this group.
Mm-hmm.
So a mistake on her part.
Mm-hmm.
America, though, doesn't think nothing up. Like America is a real good game player, big fan, huge fan of the show, huge fan of the game. Another one that's in Sari's pocket because she loves her some Sari too. But she watches live feeds and everything. They cut away from the feeds the other day because she said, fuck Sarah Beth. And I said, and then they cut it. So a couple seasons ago, Chantae, there was a woman named Tiffany Mitchell who's queen in this game. They were talking, there's a woman named Sarah Beth.
And with the laser with the other 2 or something. Wasn't that her?
Yeah. So, yeah. So Tiffany, there was a woman named Sarah Beth, and she was getting involved in some shit, and she's like, fuck Sarah Beth. And I said that shit. Like she said,
with her whole chest.
With her whole ass chest. She said, fuck Sarah Beth, and I said that shit. So America talking about how she's a big fan with somebody, she just took it upon herself to yell that, and they said, okay, moving on. They cut the feeds and moved to another room of people talking. So that's how the house is laid out right now. Someone stated that they counted 18 beds.
So there's another person coming.
Possibly, no one knows. It's been almost a week, though.
But here's the other thing. There's still no memory wall.
There is still no memory wall.
We don't know.
Chantae, on those 2 video panels in the kitchen area,
yeah,
one of them has everyone's photo on it, and then it grays out when someone gets eliminated.
And it's called the memory wall.
It's called the memory wall.
Gotcha.
No one's photos are up there yet. And those photos stay there the whole time.
The whole time. So the fact that they don't have them all up means there's a person or two.
Everybody might not be here. Everybody might not be here. With the multiverse situation, there's a couple speculations of people that could be in there, you know? Some say Derek X from a couple seasons ago.
Yeah.
Claire's been posting, Derek X has been posting on social media, but Derek X has not been in any of the videos that Derek X and Claire are on the same season, BB25. They've been dating since. They won the Amazing Race.
That's what I'm talking about, because they were on the challenge.
Yes. Yeah.
Only Derek was. Derek was, Claire was not.
Derek was on the challenge. I was like, yeah, there was some couple. He was on the challenge.
Yeah. Derek X. So Derek, though, Derek has not been seen in his Instagram posts. Claire's been in them on his page and says, my girlfriend, this is my girlfriend watching the feeds, whatever. And that's there. Claire has been saying, Claire stated, if Sari comes in the house, this is going to become a Sari fan account on her own Twitter page. She said, if Sari and Derek X come in the house, this is going to become a Sari fan account. And then, she's been saying, it's gonna be real weird if Derek X comes home and he sees all the Sari love I gave. Because she's been saying that. This is before Sari was in the house. Now, she didn't know Sari was gonna be in the house. There was one of my favorite videos I saw on the internet. Ovi, after the cast was dropped, had asked previous players who they thought would win based on the photos. And then in his video, he said, now this was stated, she must be a knowledge, just have some other knowledge. Claire's video says, the winner's going to be Sari. I know she's not on the cast, but I think the winner's going to be Sari. And then Sari was there, and she's like, she's been taking victory laps. People have been congratulating her on Twitter and Instagram, and she's taking all those flowers because she just knew in her heart of hearts, she's a big fan. She was a big fan going into the show.
If they're bringing somebody else in and they brought somebody of the caliber of Sari in, I don't think they're bringing in Derek X. But
right.
Why? He's an Amazing Race winner.
Do you know he is an Amazing Race winner, which gives you that Amazing Race piece from the multiverse.
Okay.
But there's one other multiverse thing that's attached to this now.
Tell us.
And
I have a guess of what it is.
What do you guess it is?
I still think it's what I said on the first night. I have a weird feeling there's a twin in there.
You think there's a twin? Who do you think is a twin?
Jared.
The
More
swimmers.
Sari kids.
I know, Jared's a twin. I think the swimmer's a twin.
I would assume, I don't think it will be the swimmer because the likelihood of two being like hard of hearing or deaf would be strange. I assume it would be a guy because it would have to balance Sari. And it would have to be a guy because the other two twins were girls. So it wouldn't be Corey. I guess Luke.
The internet thinks Luke has a twin. That is one theory. He may have a twin. He may not. No one knows for sure. The internet thinks Luke has a twin.
Yeah.
That's one option.
What makes?
Huh? The internet they try to point to different bone structures and different the internet tries to say he's got a mole here, no mole there.
Just let Twitter do its work.
We need Devon in there right now. He will find the twin.
Yes. Another theory. There's one other show that's a part of the multiverse, and that's at this point the challenge. And I've heard rumors that maybe Johnny's coming, maybe Wes is coming. Either one of those people would be very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I'd love to see Wes in that house.
I don't know if Wes will go because Wes, he like, I feel like he needs familiarity with people to be able to manipulate them, whereas Johnny would just go in and be a jerk and cause chaos.
But Wes
I think Johnny's reputation would precede him, and a lot of people would want to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too. There's one big rumor that the 18th person is going to come in, and then they're going to split the house into two groups. It's going to be one team versus another team.
But
that's what.
It's Suri and Jared. What are they gonna do?
How do you do that if
that.
Kirsten goes home? Because then if you bring someone in, you're back at 17.
And that's the point.
Maybe
Does she go home?
Ooh.
What?
At 18 before they vote, or on Thursday before they vote, someone comes into the house. Cancels the.
I don't like that.
That's fine.
Lots of things you don't like, Sheldon. It's fine.
I don't like that.
Sounds like I was just saying how great the season is, and I take it all.
Then Riley gets to play in the HOH again, and we start the season basically at 93 days.
So what was the point?
Which makes a lot more sense.
What was the point?
93 days makes sense.
So you get a week of them getting to know each other. That person's going to come in as a team captain. And then Suri would be the other team captain. And, I mean, that's how you give Suri some kind of like immunity for a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
Suri also got people that they liked. BB said, Sheldon, you can write a letter to CBS production if you don't like it. And I agree.
I do have some breaking news off of what I said earlier on. I don't actually know if this is breaking.
Did you break your own news on what you said? Were you broke news?
Well, I asked if there's a showmance between Riley and Jag, and I seem to have found a picture of them being very, very close to one another. Very close. So I don't know if this is just friendship, but that seems like a type of big spoon I'd like in my life.
Hey, he's leading with his knees and not his penis. That is definitely friendship.
Unless he's just respectful and he's going to slowly move down.
Sheldon, why are you making us do a Zapier analysis of people cuddling?
We're trying to analyze people cuddling.
I, by the way, I never understood this cuddling business. And I do not cuddle with my friends. How come in the Big Brother house people cuddle with their friends? What? It's not like you're on Survivor. You actually need their heat. But like, what happens? You walk into the Big Brother house and cuddling means something different? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't get it either. But those are the main spoilers that I got for you guys. You guys have any questions about anybody?
I do have one more spoiler. You didn't tell us if the POV was used.
Yes, it was not used.
It was not used.
It was not used. There was the thought that there might be a backdoor situation. They know that Miss Felicia's safe. So in order to make sure that didn't happen, Suri had to have a conversation with both Miss Felicia and with Hisam. Did I get it right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes.
She had a conversation with both of them about why the veto could not be used to keep herself safe. And they all agreed. Corey had a conversation with Suri. Suri's like, I want you to work with us. He's like, cool. Here's the only problem. Hisam does not like me, and he does not like him. And Hisam has a terrible poker face. No one knows. Literally, Hisam there's been no reason for him not to like Corey, but he said to Izzy, I don't like him.
He might just be annoying. I could see him being an annoying person. He seems a little annoying.
So Corey tries to have a conversation with Hisam. Hisam just looks down at his food and says, just nods the whole time. Afterwards, Corey's like, that did not go well. But he goes to Suri and says, I think it went well. And then he says, like, later on, I don't think it went that well. And so Suri then tried to vouch for Corey, and Hisam's like, well, if he does not seem like he's in charge of that other group, so
whatever.
Fine. Yeah.
I have a rumor to spread, mostly because I want it to be true. If there's an 18th, please, Tiffany Mitchell. Please, Tiffany Mitchell.
No, I cannot have Tiffany and Suri in the same house.
Please.
And then especially if they have to have groups against each other, that doesn't seem like it'd be good for
I want
anybody.
So bad.
And it's not Tiffany. Tiffany was just at Oz's event. There's no one that they wouldn't have had sequestered this whole time.
I don't want Ozza. I want Tiffany.
No, Tiffany was at Oz's event.
I know.
And she was at Hannah's white coat ceremony the other day.
Also, I couldn't see them putting Tiffany against Cirie without giving Tiffany some kind of lieutenant the way that Cirie has Jared.
Yeah. And Tiffany's son is too young to be in the. He's like 16. He can't be in the Big Brother house yet.
She has
I don't even think he's 16. I don't think he's 16. I think he's like 14.
Corey's like 12.
Yeah. Christian, I think his name is. Yeah. I think his name is Christian. He's like 12. Yeah, he's a kid. He's a kid.
No, I meant Corey in the house is like 12.
Corey in the house.
Corey.
He's 21.
He's 21, looks 12. That's all it is. He looks 12.
He looks 12.
So those are all the spoilers I got for us right now. This is turning out to be a really good season. Chantae, you had mentioned that you saw the live feeds and you felt like they were boring, and you're correct. Like most of the time, like there's not a lot going on, which is why for myself, what I utilize, I use Twitter a lot during the Big Brother season because I can keep up with most conversations. And if something interesting is going on, I then go to the feeds. Like for instance, everyone was waiting for it the first night. And then when it finally happened, I was out and I just jumped on my phone and watched, put in my AirPods. It was the first conversation between Cirie and Jared on feeds. That was an exciting moment. And I was downtown. So I just stepped outside and I put my headphones in to try to hear what was going on. It was impossible because you saw when they talked and you saw how they had the subtitles, they whisper so well. Like they were whispering.
I didn't know you had to be a lip reader in order, but they better watch out because what's his face is a lip reader.
Correct. Master lip reader.
Yeah.
And he didn't reveal that he's deaf, did he?
They know he's deaf. They don't know
he's a lip reader though.
Yeah, they don't know he can read lips though, and they know that he can't sign. But they know that he's hard of hearing. But the way
they be careful because
they don't have to be careful anymore because they could talk in front of Izzy and talk about everything they want, and Izzy could be in the room, so it's not secretive.
Yeah.
And that was one of the keys because at that point, Jared hadn't told Cirie that Izzy knew, and so that was part of the conversation that he had with her in that first conversation. And she's like, "Did you?" He's like, "I didn't tell her. I have no idea how she knows." And so that was the first conversation. But like that, when that moment happened, I jumped on the feeds and I watched what happened. When someone else tweeted that Cirie was giving a master class, and that was when she was telling Jared, "Calm it down," jumped on the feeds, had to see what was going on.
Now, one other big thing that we haven't spoken about is it seems like Felicia, my best friend, seems to
Felicia.
That's Miss Felicia.
Sorry. Seems to have an issue with her microphone dropping in water.
Sheldon, thank you for bringing that up. So Miss Felicia has gone through, I think, 4 mic packs.
I just saw a 5th just went into the water.
Did it right now?
Yeah.
The 5th, yep.
Okay, so she dropped it in the toilet the first time. When they opened the backyard 2 nights ago, they said the hot tub and the pool is not ready. Do not go in the hot tub and pool. About 5 minutes in, Miss Felicia fell into the hot tub. That's why she just tripped and fell in the hot tub. Yeah, second mic pack. I don't know what happened to the 3rd mic pack. I think she spilled something on it. 4th mic pack fell in the toilet again. She was in the bathroom. I watched that clip. She's in the bathroom. She said, "Darn it!" And they're like, "Did it happen again?" That's what Cirie says outside. And she's like, "Well, not like all the way, but yeah, not like all the way, but I took it out real fast." She said, "Not all the way." Well, yeah, all the way, but I took it out really quickly. So
I saw a picture of her mic wrapped in like saran wrap.
Yeah, it's now wrapped in plastic wrap. And you said that it fell in water again.
I just saw
Kirsten has also been having issues with her mic, and Big Brother has been yelling at her to put her mic back on.
Yeah, because she's been taking it off.
Yeah.
Miss Felicia keeps just dropping and or falling into water, and so it drops or falls into water.
Hope she could swim because that's dangerous.
And the hot tub is fun. She was.
She can stand up in both the pool and hot tub.
I hope so.
So those. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. So she's been through 5 mic packs in 6 days.
That's really.
So
they went in on Thursday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
They might get rid of her just to save money on mic packs.
They might rig the game for her to win so they can dock her check.
Yeah, that was. Someone from the show before said that Miss Felicia's going to win and leave with $250,000 from the mic packs she had to pay for.
Well, what an episode! What an episode!
So it's been a great season so far. A lot of gameplay in the first week, which is really exciting. And Chantae, like I said, if you want to check out the feeds, look at Twitter first, see if something's going on. If none's going on, the time.
An X or a tweet or whatever they're calling them now. I don't have a Twitter, so you
then
don't
worry about it. I'll tell you, and I'll message you if I jump on. One of my favorite things to do, especially if something insane is about to happen, like some of my favorite times, and I have this ability due to my job. I could like turn it on one of my side screens, but there's certain times usually when things happen, right? So the HOH competition is usually Friday afternoon. Or Thursday night, and then Friday afternoon they have the nominations. Saturday afternoon is the veto competition. So I like to jump on during Thursday into Friday so that way I can see what kind of conversations are being had. And you're usually going to have a feed on the HOH room. And then Friday after noms, I like to just check online to see who were nominated. I would have already assumed I would know who's going to be nominated based on the conversations I saw. And then Saturday, I like to see immediately to see who won the veto because you want to see the fallout from the person winning the veto because they immediately get to work with whatever they need to happen after the veto. And then Monday afternoon-ish, and this is why I say ish, is because sometime Monday early day, is when they do the nomination ceremony, when they do the veto ceremony, where someone gets to come off the block. And that's usually how I know ahead of this. Now, I say Monday-ish because last season, there was one very exciting Monday morning when it looked like they were trying to pull a move real quickly. And they called the veto ceremony a little bit early, just so that because it looked like things were about to be a turning. And they didn't want the things to turn because something had just happened. They didn't want someone to get cold feet. So they called the veto meeting early before everyone got a chance to go talk to the HOH or the veto holder last second. And they went with the last thing they talked about because, like, I think it was Daniel trying to come up there to come and do a plan. And they called the veto meeting immediately. So he didn't have a chance to have the conversation.
But they stay out of the game. They wouldn't mess. They don't mess with the game.
They want good TV.
Remember, it's not a game. It's a social experiment.
It's not even that. It's that they want good TV.
Remember, it's television for the ratings, for the cash. Money.
Yeah. Because I think what was happening was the leftovers had just come together and they needed Turner to do the thing they needed him to do, which was backdoor Daniel. And there was someone about to have a conversation. I don't know where Chantae went. But we evicted her. Did we evict her from the Big Brother house?
One down, two to go.
Wow.
Well, Chantae, it was just too much for her. Loved having her here today. Sheldon, thank you for joining us. That was our spoilers. That was everything we got there. CJ, got anything more to say? Any questions?
Nah, I'm just excited that we're finally back. I spent a lot of time watching today. Like you said, the best times to watch if you're going to watch it live is Thursday nights, Friday afternoons, Saturday afternoons, Monday afternoons, because that's when they're scheming.
That's when they're scheming. That's when they're doing stuff. The next few days, are going to be interesting because Kirsten is a foregone conclusion that she's going home. So there is not much to talk about that. But preparing for next week is what we will be seeing on the feeds for the rest of the next couple of days.
Yep.
So join us as we talk about everything going on. Sheldon, we should be back on Thursday, correct?
Preach.
So we'll be back Thursday night as we talk about everything that happened.
I got the laugh I wanted.
We'll be talking about everything that happened in the veto episode and in the live eviction episode. So join us Thursday after the show. Thank you for joining us. I'm at KG Fury. Chantae is the Villa Chantae. CJ is at Keyboard Sarcasm. Sheldon doesn't have social media, so don't follow Sheldon. You can find Sheldon at KG Fury. Yeah, no, I didn't. Sheldon did. I didn't put anything. Sheldon does that all the time. You can
We
find
need to
Sheldon.
make
Follow
one
me,
for
guys.
Sheldon called "Don't Follow Sheldon."
Yeah, you can find Sheldon. Also join us at For the Fans Reality for all of our stuff. We'll be back in a few days, guys. Thank you for joining us from outside the Big Brother house. Good night.
Night.